Now, looking at the cases of Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden, outsiders are undoubtedly making comparisons between the two men. Both leaked massive troves of information to the public. Both are being pursued by the government for espionage and a host of other charges. Both say that they leaked that information to serve the public interest. And the comparisons don't stop there. But there are also a few pointed differences between these two secret spillers. To help me navigate through both cases, I'm joined now by Michael Brooks. He's the producer at The Majority Report. Hi there, Michael. So let's start off with the biggest similarities and differences in your mind between these two men.
Hi, Megan. It's great to be with you. I think, the similarities are clear. They're both young men who decided to really, at great personal risk, expose what they perceive to be significant and systemic wrongdoing. They both, by most accounts, are very intelligent, very competent, and good in their fields, as far as we know. Obviously, the core dissimilarity is because Edward Snowden chose to flee the United States. And as his case has kind of progressed, it's taken on a much different and kind of a distinct geopolitical calculus that Bradley Manning's case does not. And then obviously going back to Manning, he's been the victim of really significant abuse and inhumane conditions under military capture in the United States.
And another very big difference is the fact that Bradley Manning was in the military versus Edward Snowden, who was an NSA contractor. So if Edward Snowden is somehow extracted and brought back to the U.S. to face the criminal justice system, he'll be facing a civilian court versus a court-martial or a military tribunal. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. And I actually think the one thing that's very significant about that, even before you get to the legal implications, is the fact of Edward Snowden's position in and of itself. How many contractors we have handling this type of intelligence. I mean, you could take the opposite view even and say maybe, hey, I didn't want this stuff to be leaked. Well, then you would have to ask yourself, do you feel comfortable with a system that allows someone like Edward Snowden, who, there's conflicting reports about how senior he was, and even just the fact that he was a private contractor, having this amount of access to that information? He also faces espionage charges, so he's also been hit with the most harsh charges possible, I guess, other than treason. So even though he's not in a military system, he's also been hit with an incredibly draconian and exceptionally over-the-top charge, which in some ways validates his point almost as much as some of his leaks about the NSA surveillance program, I would say.
And Edward Snowden allegedly sent out a letter yesterday via WikiLeaks comparing himself to other whistleblowers. He said, quote, "In the end, the Obama administration is not afraid of whistleblowers like me, Bradley Manning, or Thomas Drake. We are stateless, imprisoned, and powerless. No, the Obama administration is afraid of you. It is afraid of an informed public and informed, angry public demanding the constitutional government it was promised and should be." So finally, what are your thoughts to wrap this whole thing up about both of these men kind of being seen together in the same sentence as whistleblowers?
Well, again, I think that there are some distinctions. I think some of the things that Snowden has had to do have complicated his situation because it's gotten drawn into larger geopolitical concerns and raised other questions in terms of some of the other countries that he's had to deal with in the situation that he's in, and some of the leaks he's chosen to make. But fundamentally, yes, they're both performing a whistleblowing function. Thomas Drake is a whistleblower, and the Obama administration, unfortunately, has taken an exceptionally aggressive stand against whistleblowers, and then also had double standards, which is the other significant component of this, because leaks have happened throughout about all of these security programs, and when they're favorable, they aren't as aggressively pursued, and when they're exposing abuses or problems, they are. And right there, that undercuts the whole notion that this threatens our security and highlights a really huge issue of accountability and democratic process, which of course should concern all of us.
Two men potentially facing two very different fates for both being whistleblowers and secret spillers. Michael Brooks, producer at The Majority Report.
Thank you.